In this video, we're going to take a closer look at what I believe to be an excellent three-person tent and some of its interesting features.
Usually, this 55-litre backpack can contain my entire camping kit, food and goodness knows what else. Today, not so much.
Just for comedy effect, this is our three-person tent, and all three of these small backpacking tents fit into the same backpack. So, in all seriousness, let's get down to business. This is the Eurohike Avon 3 DLX, and pay attention to that Nightfall branding on the label there as well, as we'll come back to that later in this video. The inner and outer parts of the tent are completely separate, as you would expect. It does, however, in the instructions say that you can leave them connected with these toggles, so it's quicker to pitch the next time you use it. So that's what I did here, and I was curious to see if I could put this together myself as one person. However, what I found was, with the inner sheet already connected, once the tent poles were through, it was a lot of weight to be levering on the tent poles as I was trying to put them properly in place. So I got my other half, Sam, to come and give me a hand. We'll just take a moment to see some time-lapse footage here so that you can get an idea of just how easy this is to pitch. Like I say, the difficulty comes more from the fiddly nature of threading the tent poles through a material sheath, and then of course, because of the size and weight of this, I found it was a much better idea to get Sam to give me a hand rather than try and prove a point by doing it myself and then breaking one of the poles on camera. This is the simple mechanism to attach the tent poles and keep them locked in place, and they do go in and feel very, very tight once you're putting the opposite side on. As this rapidly comes together, you'll notice that the dome sleeping area is self-supporting, but that porch towards the front needs to be pulled out taut with the guy lines and a few pegs. But ultimately, it's a really simple process, and that's one of the first very good positives in my view, especially if you're a family or you've got potentially more than one tent that you want to pitch and you've been driving a long distance to get to your campsite and just want to get it up and sorted. You can see it's really straightforward, and with a couple of you working on it, it's really, really easy. So great big plus and bonus points for that. So let's get in and have a look at the situation. You'll see one of the toughest parts about this whole process was rolling up that massive front door in the front porch area. And don't worry, I'm going to be lying across this tent in all manner of ways so that you can get a really good idea of the general size. But the fact that I'm there kneeling in the porch with loads of space around me should be an early indicator as to just how much space this tent has. The porch actually has an entire second door that you can open as well, which I will do in just a moment. It's almost like you've got some kind of panoramic view with so much open tent in front of you in that porch area. But one thing I want to note here is that the inner is so much darker than the porch area. Because of this nightfall darkened material, it really makes a massive difference. However, the camera is doing a lot of work to raise the brightness of the image. So when I'm in there, it doesn't look anywhere near as dark as it actually is. Whereas here, approaching the tent from the outside, you do get a glimpse as to just how much of a difference it makes having that darkened material. So this camping mat, for future reference in this video, is 188 centimeters long by 56 centimeters wide. So this was my failed attempt at showing you on camera just how much of a difference there is from the outsides to that darkened inside area. But because I'm filming this on an iPhone 15 Pro, which isn't even the latest iPhone now, it just readjusted the light balance and didn't really look like much of a difference. So that's why I wanted to really make a point of showing you how dark it actually is in there compared to the outside with some of these shots from outside the tent entirely looking in. Anyway, you can see here a good glimpse and demo of the size of it as I'm rolling around on that camping mat. And there's a load of extra little features that I really like, such as what I can only describe as a skylight. So in the daytime, when you don't want it to be darkened, if you're trying to get off to sleep, you can pull the top section back and have it as just a nice clear mesh area. Equally, just at the back of that, on the outer sheet, you can see we've got a vent with a very flimsy little stick there. It's just literally a foam piece that keeps it pushed out. So we've got pockets on the inside and all sorts of just extra little features. There's vents on the front porch area. This is another indication of the size of that open porch section. The floor of the porch is attached to the inner, but the outer sheet also has a big lip on it so that it has a big overlap. So just like the doors here have a nice little overlap to try and stop the weather elements getting in, the floor of that porch also has two pieces that overlap by anywhere from an inch to a couple of inches, I'd say. And also, something I quite like, there's a zip stopper in the centre or various points on the doors on this tent. So that means that the zips, even though it's not really technically a correct place to have a zip, you can't get the zips in what I'd call the wrong place. So that's something that might not make any sense until you see it yourself, but trust me, you'll understand when you're using it. You can see the separation from the inner and outer as well is a good few inches, and that's something I'm really pleased about. I know I've been talking very positively about this tent and it may seem suspicious, but I promise you this is not a sponsored video. This is just a tent that I bought with my own money and I'm very, very pleased with. But then again, you did see the sort of tents that I'm normally sleeping in that fit 3 into the same backpack that this fits in just about on its own. So perhaps I'm just overjoyed at the concept of having space to spread out and relax in when out and about. But on a serious note, I really do think it's a really well put together tent. There seems to be a lot of nice little extra features and, like you say, just simple things like the amount of overlap with the doors and those little zip stoppers, and it's just a good tent. I suppose there's not much I can add to it than say I really like the tent and I cannot wait to be reporting back from a few nights of proper usage with a tent full of people, or at least slightly full of people, and with a lovely little dog roaming around in there. So I will wrap this video up now and say thank you very much for watching. Please do check out my other videos because normally I'm doing wild camping and backpacking and solo camping and all sorts of fun and games out and about in the wild rather than proper big tents on a campsite. So hopefully you'll enjoy that because it's all ultimately coming back to getting out into the great outdoors. And you can see I was shocked that I actually managed to get it to all fit back in its pack. So that was a great success. Anyway, check out the links in the description to find me all over the internet. Keep it interesting, keep it tent worthy, have a fantastic day, and of course, my friends, farewell.